Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. And today we are giving out our 2024 season awards. And I, for one, am excited. We're going to spend the next couple episodes looking back at the 2024 season, thinking about some of the good memories we have and talking about the good times, some of the player performances before we start getting into the thick of the off season. And that begins with the awards show. How are you feeling, Saur? Are you ready for this? Are you excited about this? Do you feel confident in your picks? Completely on mute. It's terrible.
At least once every episode, this has to happen, and it always happens at the start. So there you go. I was saying that I love awards. They're the favorite part of every episode that we do, every post-game show that we do. Awards are my favorite thing to give away. And now we have an entire episode dedicated to it. I've got some really fun awards to give away. I don't know about you, but I've been creative today. And guys, let me just say, I was going to show up in a Photox with a bow tie and everything. And then Scotty dissuaded me from doing that. So blame him if we're not looking at our best. But I'm excited to see what uncreative and bland awards you come up with, while all the creative energy that I've put into it absolutely knocks your awards out of the park. That's what I'm going for.
Yes, we will see, because you've now talked a big game. We'll see if you can live up to it. Anything we need to talk about before we get into this? I know it's international duty, so we're going to get ready for the playoffs. We're not going to get ready for the playoffs, but the playoffs are going to continue this upcoming week. Messi's playing for Argentina.
So sad.
is captaining the U20. But yeah, there's a lot of good things to talk about for this year, and I think we should focus on those instead of dwelling on what can't be changed.
Wait, so before we head into the good stuff, 30 seconds on Neymar, maybe? Because apparently he might not be coming to Inter Miami.
I think there's enough conflicting reports that we probably don't need to spend.
Just wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, no, Cesar Luis Merlo, who is a reliable journalist, has done a lot for Inter Miami. Broke the Matias Rojas news, David Martinez news. Inter Miami looking at a couple players over the last year and a half. Reported that Neymar is going to sign with Santos, which is his childhood club. It's where he came from before Barcelona. Some reporters in Europe said that wasn't true. Plettigol, who's a German outlet, said that's not necessarily true. I think there was some reporting around whether there was doubt from Saudi Arabia that he would even get released by them. So it's a little unclear, but certainly I have no reason to think Merlot's report's not true. So keep an eye out over the next couple of weeks. Neymar going back to Santos, who was relegated to the second division of Brazil last year, but has or looks poised to get elevated back to the first division for next year. So that's the Neymar update.
Yeah, and enough about players who don't play for Inter Miami. Let's talk about our roster and our award show for tonight. Go on, Scotty. Hit us off.
Well, let's just get started with a bang and start right at the top with the most valuable player. And I guess we should talk about how we did this beforehand. We've given out 6 generic awards that you will see every league give out, and lots of teams talk, or leagues talk about, organizations will give out these types of awards. And we decided on these together. And then we're going to give out 6 individual awards each, like we do after every post-game show. Those are ones that we don't know each other's, so we will guess, and it'll be fun like we do after most post-game shows. So we'll do 6 generic awards and then 6 individual awards each. 18 total awards to hand out. No player can win the same award or can win 2 awards. So we're giving out 18 awards today. And so, a little bit like participation, but I think a lot of guys deserve it over the course of a long 2024 season. Okay, so we're going to start right from the top because this is the easiest one, I believe. Most valuable player, 25 goals from Luis Suarez this season in all competitions, 23 goals and 13 assists in all competitions from Lionel Messi. 2 guys that did not play every game, but played in a a lot of important games and contributed a lot of offense. And then Jordi Alba coming with 15 assists, 5 goals, 20 total goal contributions from that left side, given a huge role and, in fact, played the most games and the most minutes out of any of our star players with over 3,000 minutes, 34 starts, clearly around for as many games as any player on this team. 3 superstars, 3 players that are deserving of incredible honors and have had incredible careers, but only one player can win Inter Miami's 2024 Most Valuable Player, and that player is
none other than Lionel Messi. We were absolutely spoiled for options. We had 3 fantastic choices to pick from, but at the end of the day, when Messi's on the pitch, there's nobody else you look at, man. He is an absolute monster. Produced half the numbers that players take potentially their entire careers to produce in the MLS. Played literally half the games, had 32 goal contributions in the MLS alone. Is in contention to be the MVP for the entire league in the regular season. So it would be an absolute disservice to not start off this podcast by giving the first award of the night, which is the MVP award, to none other than Lionel Messi. I can wax lyrical about him for the entire episode, man. Do you want me to?
No, I will just say that this one I felt was easy for me as well. There's a lot of great players on this team. None of them would be here if it wasn't for Lionel Messi. He's the reason that this team is what it is. He's the reason that this team was able to build what it could build. And even though they did win a lot of games when he wasn't there, when he was on the pitch, he was the star. He was the most talented player. You could see that game in and game out. And so to me, it was clear that Lionel Messi should be Inter Miami's 2024 MVP. Now, before we move on, I just want to say, is it weird that we're not going to talk about Messi for the rest of the show?
Yeah, it is weird. And as I was saying that we have to start off the show with him, I feel like it's actually a good fact that we don't talk about him for the rest of the show, because every single player on this team contributed in some way or another. So you'd be doing a sort of disservice by obviously not talking about the rest of the squad as well. And we've had a fantastic season because of everybody chipping in and everybody putting in a good effort. But he's the leader. He's the one who started it all. So he has to be at the top. But then after that, you have to acknowledge everybody else as well. Maybe we can say a word or two about him by the end of it. But I think we can move on from Lionel Messi, who is the greatest player of all time.
Okay, award number 2, the moment of the year. 3 contenders, the first of which came on June 15th, Inter Miami's first game after the departures for the Copa America players. This means Lionel Messi's not there, Luis Suarez is not there, Matias Rojas is not there. Inter Miami travels to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Union. And in the second half, David Ruiz gets a red card, and then Toto Aviles gets a red card. And they are trying to survive with a 1-1 draw. And out of nowhere, Leo Alfonso runs the length of the field and beats the keeper in stoppage time to give Inter Miami a 2-1 win at Philadelphia that had huge ramifications for Inter Miami's ability to win the Supporter Shield and break the all-time points record. Option number 2, October 2nd, Inter Miami at the Columbus Crew. They build a 3-1 lead, but the Columbus Crew get a penalty on a handball from Noah Allen. They make it 3-2, and all of a sudden, it feels a lot like what happened in the League's Cup. And then Inter Miami is given another handball in the box. And so Drake Callender steps up to face Cucho Hernandez, and Drake Callender makes the penalty save. Inter Miami wins 3-2, and they clinch the Supporter Shield. And then moment number 3, DC United travels to Chase Stadium on May 18th, and they low block it for the entire game. And Inter Miami can't do anything until the very first touch in stoppage time from Leo Campana, who fires it past the keeper to give Inter Miami a 1-0 lead. 3 of the best moments of the year, but only one can be the moment of the year, and that is...
I'll be honest, this is one of my favorite awards to even think about, and we were on the fence about who to give it to because all 3 of them absolute fantastic moments. But the one that we went with, which we thought defined the moment for the Inter Miami's rest of the season or the remainder of the season, was the Drake Callender save against Columbus. I know it's a little bit on the fence. I absolutely loved Leo Alfonso's goal. It had everything in it: grit, determination, youngsters putting up an absolute show. You didn't even mention Yannick Bright, who had a fantastic run with the ball to put Leo Alfonso into good space. I thought that was definitely a contender. Leo Campana had a fantastic goal, gets off the bench and basically off his first touch scores an absolute screamer. And then obviously the off-the-shirt celebration and the rest of it was absolutely fantastic to watch. But for me, this moment really stood out, because if Drake Callender had not made that save against Columbus when we were 3-2 down, Columbus was absolutely on a tear at that moment in the game. They had the momentum, they had the crowd behind them, they had the energy, and all it had to take was one penalty for them to go in. And Drake Callender showed up, man. Showed up, got a big hand to the ball, and the rest is history. Inter Miami went on to create history by setting the points record. And I think that moment in time was when we're going to look back and say, okay, that was the moment where Inter Miami actually set the points record. So for me, very close. You could give it to all three, but Drake Callender's save stands out.
This was the hardest one, right?
I
mean, that Leo Alfonso goal versus Philadelphia, I think, is what gave us the confidence to go on that run during the summer without Messi and Suarez and Matias Rojas, and be competitive and compete and win game after game after game. And because we did that, we were in position to win the Supporter Shield. So I think there's a huge argument for that moment, but I think we ultimately settled on this one because it was the Supporter Shield clinching moment. It was against Columbus, who was the big bad of the MLS that we had been hearing about all season. And so not just the penalty save, but the larger moment of the season, I think, gives this award to Drake Callender for the best moment of the year.
And honestly, we won the trophy with that. The only trophy that we won this season. So I guess that maybe edges it a little bit. All right. What's the next award?
The next award is for the Young Player of the Year award, and we have 3 nominees. Diego Gomez, who started out as the sensation of the season. We did a top 20 draft earlier this season, and I put him as the 3rd best player on our team because when he was in that box-to-box role, he was unstoppable. He was a wrecking ball in the midfield, gets injured for a little bit of time, but comes back, scores a bunch of goals for us on that left wing. Yannick Bright does not start the season on the roster, but then he gets signed, then he gets a little bit of playing time, and then you couldn't take him off the field. He was the heart of the midfield and became such an important part of our season, of our team, so much so that in 3 halves of our 3-game playoff series with Atlanta, we gave up 1 goal with him and 5 goals without him, despite it being the same amount of time for each. And then Toto Aviles, who was a rock in the back, 37 appearances, 36 starts, injuries galore in that back line, but not for Toto Aviles, who only missed games for a couple suspensions. But other than that, he was always available, good in defensive transition, and improved tremendously throughout the year. Those are 3 nominees, and the winner goes to
Diego Gomez, man. He's been absolutely phenomenal for this team for a very long time this season. Last season, he started off and we were like, okay, he's not living up to expectations. But this season started with that pre-Olympics against Paraguay, and we thought it was going to be phenomenal if he can maintain that form. But there was a big if. And then he comes into the season and he's evolved as a player. He's the first one to take that step from being a youngster with a prospect to now an established player who's going to make a difference every time he's on the pitch. I know towards the end of the season, it tapered out a little bit, but honestly, it tapered out for a lot of players. And he was being played out of position in that left wing spot. And if he continued to play in that middle of the park role that he does so well, that box-to-box number 8, he would have gone on to set some more goals and assists. And I really enjoyed watching him play this season. And for his last season for Inter Miami, it was an absolutely brilliant one. I think we deserve to recognize Diego Gomez for this award.
Yeah, and I think if we let ourselves be taken over by recency bias, Yannick Bright may have won this award, but when we thought back of that first 2 or 3 months of the season when Diego Gomez was unstoppable in that box-to-box role, it was hard to not choose Diego Gomez. So I think he's worthy of the Young Player of the Year award for a team that has a lot of really talented young players. He is fitting, and he has earned his move to the Premier League. No doubt
And
about it.
I just want to say this is not to do with Gomez, but Aviles, who was nominated, I think he's one of those players who you watch the second time and that's when you notice what he's doing well and what he's not. And yes, he's a little bit immature, got us in poor spots at times, but overall, I think his game and his defensive ability is very, very underrated. And he could have had a very good season if he didn't get those yellow cards in the most untimely manner. So if he had been more available, we could have definitely said he would potentially be up for this Young Player of the Year award. But I think on merit, Diego Gomez has to take the cake, right?
Well, and also he started the most games, right?
Yeah.
Healthy all year, was a locked-in starter for a defense that was top 10 in goals allowed this year. So, yeah. Next award, Newcomer of the Year. Inter Miami brought in a ton of new players, but 3 stand out above the rest. The most expensive signing of the winter for Inter Miami, Federico Redondo, comes in as a U22 DP, comes in to replace Gregory and Facundo Farias and Dixon Arroyo. And he comes in and all he does is start every game he's available. He had a very solid season, a few dips, but for a player that Inter Miami spent $8.5 million on to be a locked-in starter, that is serious work. And so he certainly proved himself. Then you had the opposite end, the player that was least heralded coming in, and that is Yannick Bright, a super draft pick that Inter Miami felt comfortable trading down to get. Didn't even feel like they had to take him with the number 3 pick. They traded down to get some GAM and still got their guy. And all he did was become a sensation for this midfield. And then, of course, Luis Suarez, the biggest name on this list, 25 goals in all competitions for the team this year. The biggest name signing. And of course, he had a huge impact, nominated for most valuable player. But for the Newcomer of the Year, the award goes to
none other than Luis Suarez. 25 goals for the season, right? That's what you got? With 2 broken legs, 1 broken knee, basically on a wheelchair. That's what people said. Took the league by storm. He scored some absolute bangers, had some really good moments throughout the season, and led the line perfectly. I know, again, if you look at the recency of how he performed in the playoffs, you can be a little bit underwhelmed. But over the course of the entire season, I thought he would have a bit of an up and down, right? You remember Higuain and you think, okay, he may not start the season well, but then he's going to go on this absolute purple patch where he's going to score so many goals after goals after goals. But throughout the regular season, it just felt like he was scoring in bunches often, time and time again, maybe 1 game off, 2 games scoring. And it felt like regular scoring from our number 9. And that's what you need. He was consistently in good enough form to get in positions where he can affect games, score good goals, maybe a couple of assists here and there, and combines fantastically with Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba. And I thought he had a really, really good season, and that's why I want him back next season. Absolutely no doubt about it. In running for MVP as well, for the longest time, went toe-to-toe with Benteke for the Golden Boot Award as well. So Luis Suarez, our number 9, our strike leader, has to be up there for award. And I think best newcomer for Inter Miami, and debatably best newcomer in the league as well.
Yeah, I agree. We thought we were going to sign him for 6 months going into last offseason. He was the guy that they wanted. He was the guy that they got, and he lived up to the hype. So I don't know what more you can say. He's certainly deserving of Inter Miami's Newcomer of the Year. Next award, Most Underrated Player. And our 3 nominees, again, Toto Aviles. A lot of flack has been given to this defense, but when you look at it on a contextual basis, Toto Aviles still had a very good season. A lot of boneheaded moments, but very few that cost the team games. And again, he was a rock back there, very good in one-on-one defensive transition, which is what this team really needed from a center back. In the middle, again, Yannick Bright, a player that was a super draft pick, and I still can hear Taylor Twellman in every broadcast talking about how he shouldn't be making those big passes. He should be going back to Busquets. No, this guy is a key piece of this team, still very underrated. And then, of course, Julian Gressel, who has gotten a lot of flack this year, but all he's done is be fourth in the team in assists behind Messi, Suarez, and Jordi Alba. 10 assists, 11 goal contributions, does get on the score sheet, has a big role in that middle part of the season when Messi's gone, and ultimately proved incredibly valuable for this team and still does not get the plaudits that he deserves. 3 nominees, but only 1 winner, and that winner is
Julian Gressel, who some say looks like none other than Mr. Scotty Grays. I will say he's definitely the most underrated player on this squad. Because if you compare him to the other 2 nominees, I think Yannick Bright is just rated enough. Maybe by us very, very highly, but people do rate him. People recognize this. Yes, he had a very good season. He performed really well and was an integral part. But when it comes to Julian Gressel, and you mentioned that those run of games where we didn't have Lionel Messi and we needed someone to step up, and that right wing spot was an absolute gaping hole in this team, right? Because Julian Gressel wasn't performing that well, neither in central midfield nor in right wing before that run of games. And Lionel Messi left, so you were like, okay, who do we want to play? And every single Inter Miami fan, whether it was us, whether it was other podcasters, whether it was fans in general, nobody wanted Gressel to start. And we were tired seeing Gressel start every other game. And that's when he decided to step up, and he showed exactly what he brings to the table. Honestly, I still can't believe that he's 4th in the number of assists in this team, given that we have Messi, Suarez, and Alba and Busquets on this roster. And he's managed to make a name for himself. He played really, really well. He's really integral to this team coming off the bench. And I was really surprised he wasn't utilized in the playoffs. And that's when you actually realize the value of Julian Gressel, what he brings to this team. And I think it's worth recognizing. I thought he had a really good season for large parts, came under a lot of flack, but did what he does best, and that's give assists and help this team win when it was most needed.
Yeah, this is a high-quality player that wasn't always able to find his footing on this team. And I think the fans who haven't seen him and what he's done in this league and what he did for that stretch in June and July, they didn't give him the credit he deserves as a player, because he's a very good player. Okay, next is, and our final generic award is the most improved player. And to be clear, this is the most improved player from game 1 to game 42, not from last year to this year. So from game 1 to game 42, and their 3 nominees are Toto Aviles, who we talk about almost every month as a guy who just gets better month after month. And part of that's because he gets to play so often. Yannick Bright, who wasn't even signed on the team to start the year, becomes a role player, and then becomes a starter, and then becomes a guy you can't literally live without as a team. And Noah Allen, who is a left back learning a new position, looked shaky, really shaky in the preseason, and then by the end was absolutely locked down as a center back. Hugely important, both in the final month of the regular season and even in that second playoff game. Those are our 3 nominees, and the winner is
Noah Allen, man, finally giving him an award, because he was one who has impressed every single fan the moment he stepped on that pitch in that last run of games. And I was absolutely shocked by his development and how well he started playing, because it was a completely transformed player. At the start of the season, you were like, okay, he's playing well. He's playing in the left center-back role at times. Don't really want him to deputize for Jordi Alba, because the drop in quality is quite a lot. And then he comes in the center-back role, and suddenly out of the blue is just absolute stalwart in that defense, to the point where you're now thinking to yourself, he could be an actual starter in that center-back role come next season. He was so good. And the biggest thing that stood out for me was when he came back into the team, I don't remember him having a single bad game. Yes, the team might have performed poorly, but him individually was on point every single game he played in that last section of the season. And just for that, you have to commend whatever he's been doing in the training pitch has helped him, and he's improved a hell of a lot.
Yeah, September 14th is the day I'm going to pinpoint. David Martinez leaves the game after 15 minutes. He has to come in, and he was outstanding from that moment on. He landed on his head once. That didn't slow him down. And every time he played, he was, again, locked down. You mentioned it. He didn't have a bad game. I don't think he had a bad moment for the rest of the season. From that game against Philadelphia onward, he was locked down. So well deserving of this award, and it makes you very excited for what he might be this time next year. Okay, those are our 6 generic awards. Lionel Messi wins the Inter Miami MVP. Drake Callender with the Moment of the Year award for his penalty save against Columbus. Diego Gomez, the Young Player of the Year award. Julian Gressel, the most underrated. Luis Suarez, the most impactful newcomer. And Noah Allen, the most improved player over the course of the season. Now we're going to go to 6 individual awards each. This is the same style we do in our post-game show. And I am excited. Because I'm a gentleman, Saur, I will let you go first.
Why do you always do this to me, man? This is what I'm most excited about. But why do you always do this to me?
Because I'm a gentleman.
I'm going to think about which one I want to give first. But I think it's only fitting that I do this player first. And hopefully you can get it. I'm going to go with Call Sign Goose Award.
This is a Top Gun reference, and
I
don't know. I don't know it. So I'm gonna go with Robert Taylor because he's your favorite player. But I really don't have a guess here.
Do you want to take another one? Just shorten the dot.
Oscar Starry.
Yeah, of course. It is Oscar Starry, the award for call sign. No, the award for call sign Goose goes to none other than Jordi Alba. Goose was the best wingman in cinematic history. Maverick was the best fighter pilot, but his wingman was the one and only Goose. For those who haven't seen Top Gun, go watch it. One of Tom Cruise's best performances. That being said, the best fighter pilot in this team is none other than Lionel Messi, and the best wingman is none other than Jordi Alba. He has been the best left back this league has ever seen, man. As simple as that. I'm just going to say it right now. Best left back the league has ever seen. His assist numbers are absolutely astounding. Some teams don't even get their wingers or their playmakers to get those number of assists, as many as Jordi Alba has. And we're just lucky that we can say, and in the most nonchalant way, that we have the best left back in the team, because he alone on a day can absolutely change the game. I thought he was really good. There's been concerns about our superstar players' health. Lionel Messi not available for large parts. Suarez not available for some of the games. Jordi Alba consistently shows up every single time. He was injured for maybe 5 games at max this entire season, and the rest of them he was playing fully fit. And honestly, we don't have a backup to him. So if we do lose him, it's going to be absolutely horrendous. Yes, maybe we now have Noah Allen, but for large parts we didn't. Jordi Alba, call sign Goose. Give it to me, man. He's been phenomenal.
Well, we did have Franco Negri, so I don't want to say we didn't have a backup.
Yeah, but, of same quality, perhaps.
He's a superstar. And I think the reason he didn't win MVP is exactly how you described it, is the fighter pilot is Messi, and that's why he's MVP. But the wingman is Jordi Alba. 20 goal contributions from a left back is insane. Insane. And that's not MLS, hockey assist type goal contributions. That's 15 true assists for Jordi Alba and 5 goals. Best left back in the history of the league, and he deserves this. No doubt about it. Okay, I am giving the Heartbeat Award as my first award.
I called it. Before the show, I called it that Scotty was going to give the Heartbeat Award. And obviously, that award goes to none other than Ian Frey.
No, it goes to Yannick Bright, who was the heartbeat of the midfield. I even gave you a little bit of a foreshadow when I talked about Yannick Bright in his nomination for another award. I call him the heartbeat of the midfield. But this team is different without him. It doesn't function. We saw that in the playoffs. It does not function the same when he is not on the field. He's hugely important for this team. This year, He will be hugely important for this team moving forward. And what a phenomenal year for the super draft pick, who I don't think anyone expected more of him than we did this year. And he outperformed our expectations. So bravo to Mr. Bright. And he's well deserving of the Heartbeat Award, which I consider the most fundamental to Inter Miami. So he gets
Scotty, who's my favorite player?
Robert Taylor.
Scotty, who's my second favorite player?
Yannick Bright.
Yannick Bright. I wanted to give a special award to him and just to him. That's from the both of us. But unfortunately, Scotty never agrees with me, so we did not. But if you look at it, if you go to every single nomination that we've had, he's the most nominated player in every award. He was in every single category. I'm in love with this player. And I think once Robert Taylor leaves, he has to be my favorite player for sure, hands down. For me personally, I think he is the MVP. He's the most improved player. He's the most valuable player, all of that. This team would not have achieved what they did without Yannick Bright in the midfield. Some say overachieve. I think he was just consistently phenomenal every single time he took that pitch. He was just so good and not a single drop in level when you play him. You get exactly what you think you're going to get out of him, sometimes even more. And you can see he's working on his game, developing different aspects. And over the course of the season, I know Taylor Twellman didn't see it because he refuses to watch any Inter Miami games without his sunglasses on. But Yannick Bright had such good development, consistent development, and he started doing new things. His passing improved, his positioning improved. And I can't wait to see how he becomes a complete player in the next season or two, because he's going to be Inter Miami's most important player very, very soon. And dare I say, he's captain material. So I absolutely love him. And he's going to be here for us for long, very long. And he deserves the Heartbeat Award.
For the record, the Heartbeat is the most special award that I could give. So the fact that you call it unspecial is a you thing.
Okay. I take it back. I'm sorry. I take it back.
Okay. What is your second award?
I'm going to stick to my movie references because I think I have a couple of more movie references. But this one I'm going to call the Padawan You Still Are Award. And imagine that being said in Yoda's voice.
This award is going to Toto Aviles because he's still very young and he still needs to grow, but he has a lot of, I want to call it mitochondria, but that's not it. He's got a lot of the force power in his blood. He's got a lot of talent, but he's still learning how to use it all. So he's still a young Padawan.
I would say Toto Aviles is a Jedi Knight, perhaps, who's trying to be a master, but he's not able to get there yet. But this one, I think, goes to Federico Redondo. I don't think he had a fantastic season. I think he was good. He was okay. But the price we paid for him, the expectations we had for him, I thought we were really getting someone who is very sharp, refined, and a well-rounded player. But he's got a few rough edges that he needs to tinker out. He's still a Padawan. He needs to train in the off-season to refine certain aspects of his game. He was good in a lot of the games, and I think over the course of the season, he got better as well. Towards the end of the season, he had some really good games. I think he was probably one of the better players that performed for Inter Miami against Atlanta in the playoffs. He had a huge responsibility in that last game on his shoulders, and I didn't see him as a problem in that game. So that's a big compliment. I thought he was okay, but given how much we thought we were getting for him for that $8 million price tag and how he was being hyped up, I thought there's room for improvement. And I'm hoping next season he has one of the Diego Gomez's transformative seasons, because he can really, really be a good player for this team. He has the skill sets, just needs to work on it a little bit more in the offseason, and I'm sure he's going to develop into a great player.
Solid.
Yeah.
I think you can see the tools. You can see all the talent. You can see all the tools. It's just about consistency, and it's about awareness on the field. And he has, that's the easiest, or not the easiest, but the most likely thing to develop over time. And so give him a few more games and he will get there. I expect big things from him next season, but I agree with you. Solid, but not spectacular is a fitting way to Explain Federico Redondo's season.
As you said, he has the force, but he doesn't know how to channel it. There you go.
Yes. Okay, I am giving the clutch blank award, and I will fill in the blank after I announce the player's name, because it will be a dead giveaway if I announce it.
Clutch. Okay, clutch. Leo Campana, man, has to be. You don't even need to complete the name. It's Leo Campana, obviously.
The award I'm giving is the Clutch Pana Award, because Leo Campana was as clutch as this team could ever get. 2 stoppage time off the bench, game-winning goals, 6 points directly related to the left foot of Leo Campana. Actually, I think maybe the right foot on one and the left foot on another. For a backup goalkeeper, you couldn't ask for a better season. He ends up with double-digit goal contributions, 9 goals, 2 assists. And again, so talented for a backup striker, should be a starter on so many teams in this league. If Luis Suarez retires, I'm totally fine with Leo Campana being our starting striker next year. But for this season, the story of his year was being clutch Papi. Leo Campana, Clutch Pana Award. What you got next?
I like that award. That was a good award. I'm just going to say greatest second fiddle in the league at the moment, at least. And I'd love to see him as a starting striker for Inter Miami, at least for large parts of the season, if Luis Suarez leaves. Maybe you'll come to that one day. Okay, my next award. I've got some really good ones, man. I'm so proud of myself for making these. I'm going to go with the Beige is the New Black Award.
I'm going to be honest. I have not been impressed with your awards so far, based on how you have hyped them up. They have been good. They've been solid, but not spectacular. So just hold your horses on this.
All right, guys, this
Beige
is
is
my
the new
last
black.
episode in the Drive Pink Dialogue. You're not going to hear from me again for a while. I'm heartbroken that Scotty said that, but go on. Yes.
For a second there, I thought you were going to mute me. Beige is the new black. Beige is the new black. I have no idea what this means. Beige is the new black goes to Robert Taylor, because he was wearing a beige jumper on the bench this season. I don't know who gets the beige as the new black.
So, anything is the new black award means or not the award, but anything is the new black is a phrase that you use when you replace something that's, chic. So black is a color that's associated with chicness and something that's, classy. And then beige is the new black means that beige is the new color of the season. And beige is a color for blandness and meh and steadiness and absolute stability. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just is. You wear beige and you're like,
it's going to Cello Wigan.
He's wearing beige. Yeah, it's going to Cello Wigan. He's beige, he is Cello Wigan. And that award goes to none other than Cello Wigan.
When you said beige, I immediately thought Cello Wigan, but I don't know why. So I don't really understand this award.
You know what I mean.
Solid player. Really solid.
Very solid.
He had, I think, a poor Leagues Cup, but other than that, it was like 6.5 or 7 out of 10 every single game. And that is really helpful in having in a player. So you see why he continued to get starts. Obviously, off the field, he was a big influence on everyone or very ingratiated into the team. So definitely is deserving of an award. Beige is the new black is fine. I'd like to see a little more final product from him next year. Listen, this is a guy who didn't play a ton over the previous couple of years. He was sort of down the depth chart at Boca Juniors. So he finally gets an opportunity to be a consistent starter. He starts 31 out of 32 games. And, let's get a few more goal contributions next year. But other than that, I think we're happy with Cello. We'll see if he's going to get signed again. But for now, he was our right back, and solid, I think, is the key word there. Beige is the new black.
Exactly. And I've said it, man. He's a steady Nancy, and that's exactly what we get from him. There are no surprises as such, unless he has a really poor performance. And that was only once or twice this season. So I think he's solid, just needs to improve in a few things, especially when it comes to his end product.
I'm trying to decide if I should change the name of this award now.
You should.
I'm giving the Miami's very own award.
I want to say Ian Frey.
Why is that?
Because he's Miami's own, man. He's our boy, of course. He's one of us, even though we're not from Miami. I'm not from Miami.
No, actually, Ian Frey is from like 10 minutes from where I grew up.
Nice.
Coconut Creek, yeah. Miami's very own goes to a player who's actually from Miami, and that's Leo Alfonso. We talked about his goal versus Philadelphia, and it was hugely important. But this is a conversation I want to have with you really quick here in our award show. Huge goal, 3 points. Don't break the record without him. That's easy to say. That win belongs to Leo Alfonso as much as anyone else against Philadelphia back in June, on June 15th. He is speed down the left side. And one of the things we talked about this team needing is speed on the left side. I thought every single performance, he got better, more comfortable on the ball. You put him down in the B team, and he dominates in ways that Ryan Saylor doesn't dominate, Lawson Sunderland doesn't dominate. Other A team players go down to the B team, and they are good. But Leo Alfonso goes down there, and he dominates. And that shows me he's got real talent. I thought every appearance he improved, and I am very excited for what he could be next year because, again, we talked about needing speed over the top down that left side. That's what this guy has. And it's a shame that in these final months when Noah Allen was able to step up, we saw Yannick Bright become crucial. Diego Gomez was playing a lot down that left wing. This player, Leo Alfonso, was injured and was not able to try and take that next step with this team and be a weapon off the bench for us. And so I am very excited for what Miami's very own has for next season. You tell me, is Miami's very own a better award name than the Miami Vice Award?
I think Miami Vice was a better name for the award, for sure. I would have liked it more. But I will say that's definitely a good award to give because he's gone under the radar. He's been missing for a while, so he's kind of out of sight, out of mind for everyone. But he's coming back next season, and this was his breakthrough season at the end of the day. And I definitely think he's going to have a role to play next season. I didn't even consider him when I was thinking about what that left wing spot looks like next season. And when he got injured, you were like, okay, he's done enough this season to stake a claim next season to be part of that first team. But you were okay with him going out. You thought, he's done enough. We're not going to miss him too much. But honestly, you're absolutely right. We did miss him in moments that we actually needed some dynamism down that wing. And again, Tata Martino wouldn't have put him on anyways because he hates substitutions. But at least we had that option, and we could have found another reason to curse Tata Martino out. But definitely someone who's one to keep an eye out for. And come preseason, I'm definitely going to look for him and how he performs there because I think he's going to have big things to say in the off season.
Okay, what is your next award?
Okay, I'm going to go with the Problem Child Award.
The Problem Child Award goes to... See, the problem is we've given out so many awards. I'm trying to think of who hasn't gotten an award yet. The Problem Child Award goes to David Ruiz because he got that red card. He got a bad red card against Monterrey. I'm going with David Ruiz.
You're wrong. As always. I'm going to make it simple for you. I'm going to tell you what this award is, and then you're going to be like, okay, why didn't I think of this? This award goes to none other than Toto Aviles. He's obviously the problem child. He's a child. Every parent loves their child, no matter what, no matter how annoying, no matter how much they cry, no matter how bad they are, you always love your child. But Toto Aviles was definitely a problematic child, and at times this season he made it hard for us to love him. But he still had some good performances. He played really well in large parts of the season, and despite a few errors here and there, which I think can be avoided next season, I think he's going to be a phenomenal player for us, and I have hope for him because every time I watch him the first time, I'm like, Toto Aviles didn't do much, and then I watch the game again, and I'm like, Toto Aviles had a really good game. So I'm hoping that from the problem child, he's going to become the dependable child because we're going to need him in that position next season.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought we already gave him an award. So that's why I didn't guess him. Yeah, no, good player. We've talked about him a lot on this show already, but he was a linchpin for our defense all year. He started basically every game he was available for. I think he started almost as many games as anyone on this team, bar Drake Callender. And so 36 starts for Toto Aviles. That's second only behind Julian Gressel. So he was a starter for us. He was, and I think there was some real moments where he saved us in a couple games. So yeah, totally worthy of an award. Good award. My next award is the Sleeping Giant Award.
Ooh. Okay, who's a giant on this team? I'm trying to think. Sleeping Giant Award. Okay, I've kind of given up on who we've given an award to. Sleeping Giant. We've given an award to Leo Campana already, haven't we?
Yes.
This award goes to Sergei Kristov.
The award goes to Benjamin Kremaski. This is a player that played too many minutes as an 18-year-old, and he needed to take a step back. He played 2,600 minutes last year, down to about 1,300 minutes this year. I would have liked that number to be a smidge higher, but I think that's exactly what he needed as a 19-year-old, not to overwork his body, be able to develop around these players. And I thought he was consistently good. He didn't have quite as many goal contribution or goal contributory moments as he did last year, but he still had some big ones. Hit the winner against Charlotte on the road. And you can see the confidence, the effort, and the fact that he's going with the U20 team to go be the captain for the U.S. youth national team shows me he wants that leadership experience. He's getting a diverse range of opportunities and experiences, and he's only going to grow. We've seen he has the potential, and once he becomes a locked-in starter for this team, we're going to see that develop and blossom into something special, which he has. Obviously, the U.S. national team program believes in him and has great faith in him. The Inter Miami team club program, all of the backroom staff and coaches have huge faith in him. They gave him the new big contract this summer. This is a player that is a sleeping giant. And even if you didn't see it all this year, it is coming moving forward. I'm very excited about what Benjamin Kremaski did this year, and I'm excited for what he's going to do moving forward.
It was in reference to Benjamin Kremaski when I was saying that Inter Miami has such a wealth of young talent that sometimes we forget how young they actually are. They're on the pitch with all these massive superstar players, and we put so much expectations on their shoulders to try and reach up to the level that some of these players have achieved over the course of a 20-year career, right? Sometimes we expect a Leo Campana to have the same level of impact as Luis Suarez. We expect Federico Redondo to be just as good in the midfield as Sergio Busquets, and that's unfair. And Kremaski is the perfect personification of that. He's so good as a youngster. As a 20-year-old, he's playing so well. And sometimes we expect a little bit too much out of him just because he's been playing in this Inter Miami team. So I completely agree with you. Sleeping giant for sure. I didn't make the connection, but he has so much potential. And I think he's going to go leaps and bounds next season. Needs this season to develop a little bit. Maybe another season to just get his footing going. And then after that, he's going to be really, really good for us. I love him as a player. He's a great contributor to Inter Miami whenever he plays. And so much potential for us, man.
Yeah, he is. He's still only 19, by the way. He won't turn 20 until into next season. But yeah, world of potential. And I wouldn't be shocked if he makes that sort of Diego Gomez type jump over the next year into next season. I think it took him a little while to get healthy this year. He had that hernia early in the season, but phenomenal talent. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Okay, what is your next award?
Okay, my next award is the Vitruvian Man Award. And for this, you need to be a little bit of a philosopher to understand what the reference is. But the Vitruvian Man Award, who do you think it goes to, Scotty?
I'm not enough of a philosopher to know this one, so maybe you should explain the award, and then we can.
Okay,
we can go
so
from there.
Leonardo da Vinci drew the Vitruvian Man, which was basically
Okay,
a
I know what you're
image of the perfect man, the perfect proportioned man, and that should be enough of a hint for you to understand who this award goes to.
That goes to I'm guessing Robert Taylor, because you think he's perfectly proportioned.
Listen, I like Robert Taylor, but I don't like him that way. I like him as a player, man.
Who gets the Vitruvian Man Award?
I always have to give you the answer, but the Vitruvian Man Award goes to none other than Sergio Busquets, because look at him, man. He's perfect. He's perfect in every way. You put him anywhere and he's just going to be perfect. Perfectly proportioned, a perfect footballer, a perfect specimen of a midfielder, and now for the first time this season, the perfect specimen of a defender. Did we think that Sergio Busquets is ever going to play defense for Inter Miami and absolutely excel at it to the point that he's going to be our best defender? Mind blowing, right?
And we missed him a lot in the playoffs, man.
So much, dude.
We went into the playoffs thinking, wow, it's amazing that Messi's healthy and in good form. And as long as we have Messi and Suarez going, we should be fine. And then we lost Busquets and we lost Brighton and our team fell apart. So, yeah. I mean, Busquets is amazing. There's no other way to put it. He dictates play. You cannot take the ball off of him. It is impossible. And so definitely well-proportioned. And I think the perfect way to say this is he doesn't have any muscles, but because he doesn't have any muscles, he never pulls any muscles. And that's why he's always available for this team. He started the third most games. I think he played the second most minutes of any player. In fact, I think he played the most minutes of any player not named Drake Callender, who was in goal. And so just a phenomenal season from him. And if we had him at the end, we would have gone much further.
And if he keeps playing like this, I think he can go 10 more years. Honestly, he's just so smooth. I can't wait to see him back in action next season.
Okay, I'm giving out the Fireworks Award.
The Fireworks Award. Obviously, this is a player who, when he plays, produces some fireworks, and that's none other than Matías Rojas.
It is indeed Matías Rojas, who was so explosive for a few moments that it was incredible. It was a show. He put on a show. In that New York Red Bulls game, it was a show. At Montreal, it was a show. And that left foot, when it's right, is like the 4th of July. It is incredible to watch. Fireworks aren't appropriate for every occasion. He doesn't fit in for every celebration. But when it's right, it is magical. And I think that explains Matías Rojas' season in the best way I could possibly come up with. Matías Rojas gets the Fireworks Award. And let me just say, I think he finished with 12 goal contributions, 6 goals, 6 assists.
No, he did not.
Sorry, 9 goals, 2 assists, 11 goal contributions.
That's still quite a lot.
Yes. So great. A really good season. And considering he didn't even come in for a long, he missed the first 2 months of the season. Really impressive season from Rojas.
The name of the award wasn't that great, but the explanation was absolutely fantastic. Fireworks are not for every occasion, but when they come out, you really enjoy them, and that's Matías Rojas, right? Like,
doesn't the explanation go into being a great award?
Yeah, fair enough. I'll give you this. This was your best award. Let me just say that. I will not forget that left foot strike against Red Bull. He had another fantastic free kick that I don't remember which team
it was. At Montreal.
Absolutely tore the net out of that goal. And he's so good, man. His left foot is insane.
His best goal was that free kick at Montreal. And Messi had to come out and sit 2 minutes on the sideline because he was injured for more than 15 seconds. And everyone was thinking, man, this is Messi's free kick.
Yep.
Matías Rojas steps up and hits it from like 35 yards. It was incredible. There was a lot of great moments, but that was a really great one as well. And so Matías Rojas definitely deserving of an award. Okay, what is your final award before I wrap it up? And I hope you saved your best for last, like I did.
My final award, this may not be the best, but you know why it's the final award, is the 21 Gun Salute Award.
The 21 guns. Does this go to Robert Taylor for falling in action? I like this one. This is a good award.
Do you want to explain it to the audience? Because I don't think I can afford to talk about Robert Taylor.
Well, when someone falls in action and the military has a funeral for them, they get a 21 gun salute, and that is, firing shots over at their funeral, and it's, an honor of being a military person and dying in action. So, 21 gun salute for Robert Taylor, who died in action for Inter Miami. For those that are listening on audio, Saur just saluted to the camera.
Your services will never be forgotten, Robert Taylor. He took one for the team, man. He took one for the team. I don't know if Robert Taylor gets out of the Inter Miami squad with a whimper if Federico Redondo hadn't joined in or Diego Gomez hadn't been pushed to the left wing side. I think this was a player who was bound to start every single game for us, even up until the last game. And it's a shame that we didn't see him when we should have. And I do think this is the last that we see of Robert Taylor for Inter Miami. I hope I'm wrong. And if he does come back next season, I'm going to be the happiest Inter Miami fan in the world. But it's been a pleasure watching him play for us. He has lit the world on fire when he plays. Never forget his Leagues Cup run last season. And he's going to be one of my favorite players for Inter Miami. And I say that in all seriousness.
Yeah, 6 goals, 4 assists, 10 goal contributions. It didn't feel like that because it's been a while since he's been an impact player for this team. But first half of the year, he was, part and parcel for what this team wanted to do. Key contributor in every moment. And so, he deserves a salute. And if this is the end, it was a beautiful ride. So thank you, Robert Taylor, for your service.
All right.
Okay. Our final award is the Halley's Comet Award.
Ooh. The Halley's Comet Award. Halley's Comet comes once in, 10, 15, 20 years? I'm not sure how many years, but it comes once in a while. 67? Oh,
appearing every 72 to 80 years.
Okay, that's a lot. Okay, once in a blue moon sort of a situation. What player plays for us once in a blue moon comes out? Who have we not given an award to? Oh, of course. Oscar Ustadi has to be.
Halley's Comet goes to Ian Frey because Ian Frey has missed time with significant injury in each of the past 4 seasons. But when he comes, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And I don't know what else to say, man. When he's here, it's amazing. And I think he's going to be a superstar. I think he's going to be on the national team. And I think he's just a little bit of playing time away from being one of the best players in the league. And then he's gone too soon. But that doesn't take away from how magical it is when he's here. And so Ian Frey gets the Halley's Comet Award. It is our final award of the 2024 season. And as someone who I think everyone on this team wants to see succeed, everyone that's a fan of this club wants to see succeed, I think we can all also give a salute to Ian Frey, who once again dazzled us with his cameos this season. He finishes with 700 minutes, 7 starts, 10 games off the bench, 2 goals. And that first game where he scored against Columbus to help us win 2-1 in Chase Stadium was, I think, worthy of being one of the best moments of the season from a emotional perspective. So Ian Frey gets Halley's Comet Award, and I hope he comes back again next year.
There's nothing more I can add to that. I'm just glad that when he comes back next season, he's going to have a preseason because I'm hoping he's going to recover by that time. If not, we're going to see him play a lot more than we did this season because he's going to, I think, recover fully and he's going to be fit. But what an exciting player. Every time he takes the pitch, I'm on my feet. I'm applauding because he is just brilliant. He has that X factor. We love him for it. And again, Miami is one of own, right? Again, like Robert Taylor and a lot of the other youngsters, we're going to...
South Florida. Yeah, South Florida's very own.
There you go. So
well, not Robert Taylor, but...
Yeah, but Robert Taylor is still considered a Miami player. But anyways, Ian Freeman, brilliant. Great way to end this award season because I think he's definitely a player deserving to be talked about last because he's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
How do you feel? That was our first awards show in terms of season ending. 18 awards given out. We talked about a lot of players. I think we gave out some really good awards. And I think we gave out the right choices, maybe a few controversial calls there, but I think we did pretty well for our first time.
Yeah, I think that was a good selection of awards. We covered a lot of the players that we wanted to. And listen, it's been a bittersweet season, but at the end of the day, the season gave us a lot of memories that we're going to take back, and we're going to look back on this fondly, whatever said and done. And as we discussed throughout this episode, there were some really fun moments, and I'm glad we were able to reminisce a little bit and enjoy a bit of that, because I know it's a bit of a downer for Inter Miami fans not to be part of the playoffs, but it was a good season and the players deserve to be recognized for that. So huge round of applause for every one of them.
Yeah, before we go, I just want to answer one of Sean's questions from the chat, and I'll let you go first, Saur. Would you guys rather win the cup with a team that all grew up within 60 miles of South Florida, so in South Florida, or what we're doing now with all the money, Miami's very own?
I think there's just another charm and pride in winning the cup with players that you've seen grow up from scratch, you've seen come into their own, and who are part of the culture and community of Inter Miami as a club. Yes, you can buy success, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I know modern day football has become a bit of a money grab where you pump money into football clubs and they win, and that's fine. But I think there's just a certain beauty and charm about winning with your own players, right? You win with your youngsters, and I think that's just beautiful. So for me, it's always going to be that, no matter what.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's just something special about your guys, and seeing them grow up as, not just from the academy, but their first adventure in professional soccer is with your club. I think that's really special. So I agree 100%. And that, again, implies we win the cup, right? It would not be fun if we were in last place, but in that hypothetical, we win the cup. Okay, so anything else before we wrap it up?
No, man, it's been a fun episode, and I'm glad we were able to discuss a lot of these players and look back on the season. I know we have a couple of more episodes lined up where we're going to do a little bit more tactical analysis, a little bit more brainy analysis in some of these players and where we find them. But this was a great episode, and thank you so much for bringing your best when it comes to award names, because you did well today, Scotty.
Is that fishing for me to also compliment you on the way back?
That's fine. I know my awards were great, so it's fine.
All right, guys, we'll be back on Thursday, but I hope you guys have a wonderful night and stay safe. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you guys next time. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this, and have a wonderful day.